Hello my lovelies, welcome to Key Wisdom Tarot. My name is Ruth, I'm your Reiki Master and Tarot Reader, and this, my darlings, is a intense, in-depth look at 2020. We're going to go month by month, we're going to go sign by sign, we're going to have a look at work, love and general energies in the months, in every single month of 2020. Now, we're going to do it in this way, okay? We're going to look at key energies for the time in 2020 with this. These are just my major arcanas here. These are just the major arcana cards here. And then we'll pull some additional cards for Capricorn in January, for Aquarius in February, for Pisces in March, etc., etc. But all the energies will help us should help us all to navigate the year of 2020. The first thing I want to just talk about is the year 2020, numerology. Okay, so 2020 is number 4, obviously nice and simple, straightforward. The 4th chakra is the heart chakra, and that's all about what you love, my darling. Hope, happiness, forgiveness, unconditional love and compassion. That's what the number 4 with regard to the chakras represent. Or number 4 is a significant number. It's, you know, it's related to love. It's related to the structures and the foundations in our life. That's what the 4th house information tells us. The 4th house information tells us that, you know, the number 4 is representative of, or is concerned with, home and property. These things here, where we come from, what our lives are built on, what we build on, what we have to create with, the resources that we have or have been taught or have been given to us, and it's those resources that we now can create with. It's those resources that now we can control, those resources now that we can help to sustain a level of security for our lives. So for me, when I'm doing my own notes, or when I talk to you guys about I spend time with the energies, and I really, really do spend time with the energies, and after my meditation back in October time, this is what I came up with. So I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. So 2020 for us all is about establishing new structures, working within new structures that you've helped to create. And by you, I mean the journey that you've been on in 2019. You know, that journey that you've been on in 2019 has helped you to create these new structures in your lives now. So we're going to be applying acquired wisdom. We're going to be applying what we've learned in 2019. We're going to be applying that now in 2020, which means that we're going to be taking calculated risks. We'll be trying new things. There'll be trial and error potentially. We'll be connecting with other people. We're going to be feeling much more truthful. I mean, I said last year, I feel like I should be talking to you when I'm saying this. I feel like you should be able to see my face. But you can't, because I'm not looking. Anyway, I digress, darling. There's going to be better communication this year because we've learned about truth in 2019. There's been no avoiding truth. I told you that at the beginning of 2019. And everyone kept saying, stop bloody repeating yourself. Well, look what happened, yeah? It was a lesson in reality, 2019. And now we're coming into 2020. Now we're in 2020. If you're watching this in 2020, we are able to communicate our truths. We have to communicate our truths. You should be feeling motivated. You should be feeling inspired, potentially more creative, more at ease with sharing yourself, your truth, your ideas with others. There'll be deepening commitments, deepening friendships, and new love, new relationships. Less anxiety in 2020 and more certainty. Yes, some nerves, you know, it's feeling the fear and doing it anyway, but we're making moves in 2020 and we're taking action in 2020. This year is about growing self-confidence and your willingness to try new and do more. And it's this that helps you to apply and to show the world that what you've learned, yes, since 2019, but really since 2016 when this the last transit, this 3-year transit that we've been under, and which ends at the end of 2019, to be honest with us, and now we're moving into a brand new cycle in 2020. So there's a lot that you've learnt. It's a great year for the entrepreneur or anyone going for promotions, because you now understand your worth. You know, 2019 and the last 3 years have shown you that you now understand your worth. Even if you're applying skills in a slightly different area or environment, you can be confident that you're headed in the right direction, and that you're healing as well, that you're healing in the right direction. Okay, you may feel some trepidation, but the strongest feeling is inspiration. You feel ready to take a chance in 2020, and that is a real key and important message for you. And that's what number 4, that's what 2020, the energies of number 4, the energies of 2020, that's what they indicate about what you're going to be experiencing, about what we're going to be experiencing, about what we're going to be feeling. Okay, when we have number 4 as well, we're, as I said, these new structures that we've established, it can suggest that, you know, you can watch other astrology videos for this, to be fair, but it can suggest that there is going to be things are changing, and we notice that with the transits at the end of 2019, you know, how that talks about nods towards political change, political unrest, and also the terrible weather that we've been having. So it suggests either there's going to be a lot more of that in 2020 or a lot less of that, but that just depends on how we interpret that information. Okay, so we are going to start now with our tarot part of our reading. Okay, so we're going to start with Capricorn or January. So we're going to look at January first of all. We're going to look at the key energies for January, and then we're going to have a bit more, I'll give a bit more depth for Capricorn, and then we'll move on to February and Aquarius, and finally obviously we'll move to Scorpio in November and Sagittarius in December. Okay, so we'll work our way through 2019 by looking at each of the months now. So let's get started. Okay, so we start in January and with Capricorn. Now, January is an important time of year. It's a time where we must look back and reflect on the previous year, but it's also where we, you know, look forward and plan sort of the type of things that we want, the type of ideas and events that we want to bring forward into our lives. Now, the first house in astrology is about identity, the physical body and health, appearance, outward actions and behavior. So it's not surprising, is it, that January is the time that we say, right, we're going to start dieting, we're going to stop drinking, we're going to, whatever it is people do, you know, the first and it really links nicely with the first house of astrology. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to look at a key energy for everybody in the month of January, and I'll talk you through that, and then we'll pick some additional cards looking at sun, moon and stars, basically. So that's work, love and general, okay, for Capricorn, but we can all sort of benefit from the messages, I would say. So let's look at, first of all, the key. I'm going to be quiet now because obviously I read intuitively. Capricorn's going to have a successful year, which is good, and that suggests that we're all going to have a successful start to the year of 2020. Now, obviously I've talked about what we're looking at when we talk about 2020, I feel like I need to show you this card, and just really showing you that it's the end of one thing and the beginning of something else in 2020. So that's a message for Capricorn, but a message for people that are just listening. So let's start with the key energies, please, and experiences for us all. So we've got now, interestingly, 2 major arcana cards, and this one, if you remember, was right at the beginning. We saw this card, and I was going to say to you, you know, it's a time of change. Is 2020. It's a time where we, as I said already, we're putting into progress, we're putting into, you know, setting up the actions, doing the actions to make the changes occur. This is another number 10, so this is the third 10 we've seen already, and the Wheel of Fortune talks about changes, about moving parts, and about the fact that because change is brought about because of the work that has been ongoing already, that has been previously put into it. We're transmuting that energy now, and we're changing things, we're changing our circumstances and our situations. And you know, the energy of Temperance wants to come out as well, because again, this is about patience. Now, I call this the card of mindfulness. This is ultimately, for me, Temperance is the card of mindfulness. It's about absolute observation of your of you on every level. So not just your physical body. We've talked about appearance and etc. already, but not just your physical body, but your mind, your emotions, your psychic self. And for those of you that watch Key Wisdom a lot, you know that when I talk about your psychic self, that just means everything that's just not physical. So everything that makes up you that's not physical, that you can't see and you can't touch. Temperance is about being engaged fully with all of yourself. And it's about that engagement, that mindful observation, that mindful reflection, that patience and that waiting that you have. That is helped you to bring about the changes that we're going to see in the month of January. So now let's have a look a little bit closer for the sign of Capricorn. I'm a Capricorn. Happy birthday, Capricorn. We're going to have a look at, it's interesting because I want to say that this one is love. We've got the High Priestess here, very strong energy. It's an extremely spiritual year for us all, because as I said, we're getting to manifest in 2020. We're getting to see what we can do in 2020. And, you know, this is a message of clear wisdom and a message of teaching. I can't remember, I feel like I've heard someone else say that for Capricorns this year, this is a year of showing the world who you are, showing the world your brilliance, our brilliance. And I think that the thing about us, what we should have learned, and I keep talking about 2019 because it was such a significant year for your learning, so I hope you learn the lessons of 2019, that you need to back yourself, you need to believe in yourself, you need to support yourself, you need to have compassion for yourself, you need to understand that you are worthy. And this all comes from this mindful reflection. You know, this is what I was saying in Aries and Leo. You've got your own readings for January, so you can watch those after this video if you want. And it's clear that I was saying in those videos that we want to always start something new in January, but January is not the time to start something new. You need to wait a few months. You know, January is a time for assessment, and recognizing that things have changing. We've got number 2, we've got 3. So we've had 1, 2, 3 already in your reading, Capricorn, obviously showing progress. Look at that. Obviously showing progress in your life, and movement in your life, and celebration in your life. Now, when it comes to work, this is work for you, for us, Capricorn. When it comes to work, we're looking at the people are going to be celebrating you, people are going to be celebrating me, people are going to be it's because you've found your floor, you've found where you're meant to be, you're speaking how you're meant to speak, you're speaking authentically. So it doesn't matter what other people say and do. You are being you, and you're being rewarded and congratulated and celebrated for that. Number 3 is linked to, well, we've had the I feel I want is the second chakra, and I can and I do. You're really connecting with yourself, with who you are, and you're letting the world see that. That indicates a huge amount of success. It's going to be a successful year for Capricorn, but I think that January is what's setting us all up for success, because I really feel like January is a time to recognize that change is going to be happening and change is necessary for all of us. This is what we can all expect from 2020, but also that the message really for January is about being mindful. It's about being reflective. It's about understanding where you sit, where you are now, how things are affecting you, how you feel about things. Hello, Tiny, etc. So it's that we need to take away from the month of January. It's about reflection. It's about listening to what it is you feel, what it is you want, what your truth is, being authentic with that. So let's have a look at love. Wow, Capricorn. We've got the Lovers card. So yes, you know, I said to you already, number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've gone through the numbers here today, haven't we, with you, with us, Capricorn. We've got the Lovers card here. So the Lovers card, as you know, I've always alluded to this, the Lovers is a number of balance. We've got the divine feminine and divine masculine here, guided by this angel here, or in a similar way to the angel of temperance, actually. We've got this energy here of, this is the awareness. This is after we've eaten the apple. This is the wisdom that comes, and the acceptance that comes, that you receive, that mankind received, that Eve received, and Adam received. The knowledge and the wisdom that they got was important. The wokeness that they achieved was important, it's not about having regrets. You know, it's about listening to that thing that's guiding you, and that's what this energy represents on a personal level for you when you're going through that. It represents this idea of appreciating where you've been, what you've been through, you know, and what you've been through, what that's taught you about yourself, about your life, about what you want from a loving relationship and from a loving partner. Or not, you know, whatever you want from a relationship. So this is for love. If we see the Lovers card, it definitely indicates a huge amount of that this is going to be something that's going to be about for you. I don't feel about for us a successful relationship. Let's have a look. We've got these 3 cards here. So we've got the Lovers card, the 5 of Wands, and the 9 of Pentacles. Now, the 5 of Wands is really how a lot of this year is going to feel. Even though it's a number 4 year, it's going to feel, because we're making these changes, because we're out of our comfort zone, because we are doing things differently, because we are taking risks, because we are feeling the fear and doing it anyway. We're going to be constantly, things are going to feel as if they're constantly changing, as if they're constantly in flux. And it's not that they are, and it's not that you are, and it's not that your relationship is. It's just that you're now applying yourself differently, and you should be. You're now doing things differently. You're behaving differently. You're taking different actions. You're being led and guided by something different now than you were before. And that goes for love as well. So not just in your career, where there is a huge amount of success, but also in love, in your relationships, in the type of relationships that you want, that you're drawn to. So there's this energy of truly being yourself in love, being confident in who you are in your relationships, and sharing that. So whether you're single, or whether you're in a relationship, a long-term relationship, you've just started seeing somebody, whatever your situation is, remember you're going to be doing things differently in this relationship. You're going to be doing things differently this time or this year than you have previously done in previous relationships or in the relationship that you're in. And that is something that we see this change in you, you see this change in you, and you're determined to live the lessons that you've learned in 2020, which is a beautiful thing. So we've got love, we've got success, and we've got confidence. We've got the last card here, the 9 of Pentacles. This is our card, Capricorn, your card, Capricorn, and this is an energy about stability. So we've got Pentacles energy is all about, and Capricorn's energy actually is all about where we put our energy in order to manifest security, how we apply ourselves, how we apply our knowledge, our wisdom, our effort in order to maintain security, in order to create security. And the 9 of Pentacles, and we've already seen the 10 of Pentacles as well, suggests and shows us that there is a huge amount of stability that can be achieved for you, and this year, Capricorn, for us Capricorn, just in love and generally speaking. It's the message for January, and the message for Capricorn really for this year seems to be very strongly of success, very strongly of success, both in love and in work. You being who you are, you feeling comfortable sharing yourself with the world in a really truly authentic way. There is this element here of that's something that's new for you, that's something that's different for you, so that you can feel maybe feel unsettled about it, or other people can be bothered by it, maybe potentially. But you've always have to listen to these energies here. You always have to recognize that this is happening. What's happening this year is happening because of what you've already been through. The changes are occurring because of what you've already been through. The good fortune that's coming toward us is coming towards us because of what we've already been through, and we should be mindful of and respectful, and listen to where we're at, what we feel is right to do in each moment. The card of mindfulness, temperance and healing there. Okay, so that's Capricorn, and that's January. So we're going to move on now to look at I need to look at my list, Aquarius, because obviously I'm doing it in a different way today. And remember, Capricorn, this is a card, you know, and for January, you know, there's a for everybody else who's not a Capricorn, really think about January. You've got these key energies here for January, so really think about really think about in January the changes that you want to make. Be reflective on the actions that you want to take. Be reflective on where you've come from, what you've been doing, and how to that will be the key, really, the guide really, to getting you through then to making decisions, helping you to navigate the path before you. Okay, so we move on to the second house now. We move on to Aquarius. So the second house is about it's Aquarius, so we'll pick some additional cards for Aquarius, but the second house we'll look at in February is about money and wealth, financial conditions, security, gains and losses, your attitude and concerns about these things, these areas. So I think it's Aquarius doesn't rule the second house, but I'm just saying the second house because it's the second month, and we look at numerology. You know, numerology does help us to it just gives further insight, really, further depth. So let's look at some cards for everybody, some energies for everybody, for all of us. So what are the key messages for, or the key message really? I only really want one major arcana. The key message, it might be that one or this one. The key message for the month of April for everybody. And then we'll look at also, we'll get some additional cards for Aquarius specifically, but obviously we can apply it to okay, so we have for you guys, or for Aquarius, second month of the year, second house. We're going to just look at this for a second. This is the two of wands. This is opportunities, and I feel like, as I said, January is an important time because it's not about necessarily the actions that you're taking in January for any of us. What January is about that reflection. It's about understanding what we want to be doing, understanding. Do you understand the lessons that you have actually learned in 2019? Because the opportunities then are going to be opening up for us, and that's what this indicates. So it gives us a nod, actually. This gives us a nod into what we can expect for February. We can expect, all of us expect, to be starting to take on these new opportunities now. So let's have a look at the key energies and the key message for all of us. Well, there we go. It's the year of the Emperor this year, the number 4, the stability that comes with the Emperor. The Emperor is the boss. The Emperor is the one that builds. This is what I've got. now. I understand who I am. I've been on the journey. I know who I what I feel. I know what I need. I know what would make me happy. I know what's going to bring success into my life. Now let me get on and do it. That's the message of the Emperor. Now let me get on and do it. So it's not just only it's not just let's get on and do it. It's all the things that you now know as the Emperor. So be expecting to be wielding that energy in the month of December. We're going to look at Aquarius now, right close up. So we'll look at some work, we'll look at love, and we'll look at just an extra general message for the sign of Aquarius. We've got, for work, we've got the Hanged Man, and we've got the Emperor again. Wow, isn't that interesting? We've got the Emperor twice repeated here. So it's obviously a strong message for the individual sign of Aquarius, this Emperor, this boss energy. And this is why you, for those of you that follow Key Wisdom, you watch me all the time, thank you very much. You will know that I say to you, I only really use this deck. I have this deck as well, but I only really use this deck because of how the imagery was created on this deck. The way that they worked to create these images is the way that I work when I talk about experiencing the energies in a similar way, you know, the mindful reflection way. So I love that I've seen this card because, you know, I want you to look a lot closer. These are not, I always say that these are not just for decoration, not on these cards anyway, maybe on this card, but or other tarot cards, but not this deck. This deck was created specifically, and the imagery is very significant and important. And these are the mountains that you've climbed. So remember this, Aquarius. Remember the mountains that you've climbed, the work that you've done. You're also maybe feeling a little bit of a hangover from 2019. And the reason I say that is because of this card here. Now, it's interesting. Let me just... It's interesting for you because you seem to have... This is what it is, Aquarius. Now, it's as if you realise that as confident as you like to portray yourself to be, 2019 showed you that actually you lack self-esteem when it comes to pushing yourself forward for certain things. There's a lack of... You're one of those people, or 2019 showed you that you're not one of those people. There's no such thing as one of those people. You have been carrying some feelings of, and we all have actually, of unworthiness when it comes to your career, when it comes to your abilities, when it comes to your ability to apply yourself. You have been lacking in the self-confidence to apply yourself, and you've realized in 2019 and as you go into 2020 that that's where it's been, that your self-confidence has been the thing that stopped you from projecting yourself. And the lack of self-confidence comes from a lack of worthiness. You not feeling necessarily worthy enough to achieve this or to have this or to go that far or whatever it is you want to, however you want to word it. So what I see here now though is, yes, reflection on that, but I also see that change for you. I also see that change for you in the sense that you now want to move forward. You're feeling more confident, and if you're not feeling confident, Aquarius, you should be feeling confident after seeing this, because we have the repetition of the Emperor here. We have this repeat of the Emperor. We see number 3 and number 4 here, so we see again this progress being made with you. This is what it is with the Hanged Man. I'm going to just say this last on the Hanged Man because it's an important card, this, and the Hanged Man is a type of energy where you think it's about, we always say it's about doing, you know, changing your perspective, and it's not what it's about. This card is about your divine feminine, because this is your divine masculine, this is you. The divine masculine, our divine masculine is the thing that does stuff, so our bodies and the actions that we take out in the world, that's our divine masculine. So everyone's got divine masculine, obviously, because we all do stuff, we all have conversations with people, we all go out to work or go to school. That's your divine masculine that does all that. Your divine feminine is, as I said, everything else that you can't see, the ideas and the feelings and the emotions and the intuitions. That's your divine feminine. When the Hanged Man is here, and that this has been here for the whole of 2019, actually, this was there for the whole of 2019. What this means is that actually your divine feminine is in charge, which means all the other stuff that usually doesn't do anything, you know, it just feels, or it just thinks, or it just has, or it's just upset, or it's just happy. That part of us has been in control. in 2019, and so we haven't been able to do much. And that sounds strange because we've lived a whole year in 2019, but you've not been able to do much when it comes to applying yourself for promotion, for work, for success and all that type of thing. Now, this is saying that for you guys, February time, this is when you're going to see that change and shift. And that's good because you've spent some time, like the rest of us, in January, being reflective, being temperate. And then now coming into February, Aquarius, you are going to be hopefully understanding and feeling strengthened by the things that you've gone through, okay? And more confident in achieving goals when it comes to work, when it comes to business, etc., and finances, okay? This is love for you guys. So let's have a look at love, okay? Interesting, we've got another 4. So there's a huge, another 3, gosh, that's a 3, that's 12, so that's 10, 1 plus 2 is 3. That's a 3. That's a 4. That's a 4. So you've got 3, 3, 4, 4. Interesting. I want you to look at the post on my Instagram, Key Wisdom Tarot, or Facebook, Key Wisdom Tarot. A post that I did about the repeated numbers 333, 444, 111, 222. Check that out. Everyone can check that out. And it'll just give you some more details and information about repeating numbers. There's a special message that's coming through for you, and I'm afraid. You know, I'm not afraid for you, because what I want to say to you is that it's going to be a huge year for you, Aquarians. It's going to be a huge year for you. There's a lot of facing up to truths. Now, this is what I'm saying. 2019 has been, we all went through it in 2019. But coming to 2020, Aquarius, there's an energy for you of understanding the impact of your actions, understanding the impact of the actions of others on you. It's something that you need to purge. It's something that you need to recognize exists within you, and it gets in the way at times of your ability to connect really intimately with your partner, or with other people. And when I talk about intimacy, I don't mean necessarily sex. I mean, intimacy is about showing who you are, being truthful, just allowing people to see you without hiding, without, putting on a show, without putting on a front. And that level of intimacy can be quite difficult for some of us, for all of us actually, at times. And really, there's something within that's this card here indicates it's about looking at your structures and looking at your emotional foundations. The Cups energy is about our emotions and our intuition. And number 4, again, we've talked about number 4 so many times in this video so far. Those structures, those foundations, what make them up? What makes up your what's in your heart space, your heart chakra space? What are you keeping there? This is about examining it. This is about looking at it, because when it comes to love, you need to do this work so that you can move on to new horizons, so that you can, it's this work, it's this examining, it's this looking, like the Hangman actually as well. It's this sort of looking at love, looking at your attitude to love, looking at your attitude to relationships, looking at your attitude to yourself in relationships, or into your current relationship, or whatever your situation in. It's that looking at that is going to help you to bring about a new type of relationship, or a new deepening commitment, or a new deepening level of intimacy with you and your partner. So that's what you need to be engaging with this. We all need to engage with that in the month of February, but Aquarius especially needs to recognize that this year, that's something that you need to be working on when it comes to love, because that's what's going to lead you toward the new things that you want and need when it comes to love. And finally, this is a beautiful card to see. We've got a lot of masculine energies here. In fact, they're all masculine energies, aren't they? And it's interesting because, as I said, the masculine energies are what's out there in the world, what we see, what we do, what people say about us, what we see, what other people see of us. And it's interesting because I've spoke a lot to you guys, Aquarius, this year, in 2019, and I said to you in 2019, you've done a lot of work on your divine feminine, on understanding your divine feminine, on understanding your emotions, on engaging with them. And it's not really something that you're you've necessarily been comfortable with in the past. And it's interesting because we have emotion cards here, but we've got acting on those things. We've got acting on our emotions, you know, owning how you feel. So on a general sort of message for you guys this year is about owning how you feel and acting on it. This is what this card really represents, and that's something that's going to be of a change for you. You know, when we've only seen this one, but if we see a high instance of these cards, and we've to be fair, we've had the Wheel of Fortune already and blah blah blah, we know that the King of Cups and the Court cards, they represent change. They represent changes that we're going through. They represent the energy of change that we're experiencing. The Divine Masculine here is about the actions that we take regarding our emotions, so the things that we do. So this is really saying that you're going to be acting on your emotions. You're going to be doing things that express how you feel, which is really where we all want to be, and that's really been the lesson for us all in 2019. So let's move on now to the third, which is Pisces. So I have a few Pisces people in my life. So let's have a look. I've got my my bro Stu, my brother, my twin sister's husband, and their child, actually, their little baby Isaac, who I love. Obviously I love all my nieces and nephews, but yeah, I'm going to be seeing them today. It's New Year's Eve, so Christmas Eve, so I'm going to be going to spend Christmas with them in a few hours. Okay, so Pisces. So let's have a look at a message for everybody for the month of March. I feel like there's, oh gosh, we'll have three. There's three. I mean, I read intuitively, so this is why I read intuitively can be because it takes up too much time. Okay, so we've got our love, we've got our work, we've got our love, and we've got general, okay, for us. And I'm glad to see that at the bottom for you, the Fool card, you know, the new beginnings, you know, again, the themes are very strong for it's a very strong year. The themes are very strong for 2020. So you really need to think about and focus on the new stuff that you're going to be doing, the new ways we're going to be behaving, the new ways we're going to be acting in 2020. It's going to be the same for you, Pisces, but also for us all in the year of in the month of March. You know, I said this in Aries' video, in Leo's video, whatever I've already recorded the videos for January into February. I said, you know, people always want to start New Year's resolutions, you know, in January, and it's not the time to start them. The time to start a New Year's resolution is in March. You know, give it a couple of months, because you need to spend that time being reflective. That's what you need to spend that time doing, and it really looks like that's what's happening. January, we're spending time reflecting on what we've learned, on how we want to move forward. February, we're going to start to apply some of those things, see how it works out, and then before going for it in the month of March. So this is beautiful to see. So let's have a look at the overall key energies really for us all in the month of March. Let's have a look. We've got the Sun card. The sun will come out. The Fool card tomorrow. The Magician. Excellent. Look at those. So the Magician is number three, I think. No, it is number one. Yeah, the Fool, then the Magician is number one, and then the Sun card, which is, I can't remember what number it is, 16, I think. Look at that. I mean, we've had the Fool twice, so there's no point me talking about the Fool again, but look at what the Fool carries, though. This is all you need to take away from it. That's all you need to take away from this year, or from the last 3 years. That's all you need to take away. The rest of it, you leave behind and you move forward. the wisdom and the knowledge, Pisces, that we've all learned actually over the last 3 years, we now take that forward, and that's the stuff that propels us into the new life. So this is about recognizing that you have everything that you need. The Fool card is, you have everything, you've earned everything that you need in order to move forward. And this is now about manifesting it, about using it, about applying those skills, about applying what we've learned, about applying what we now know, about using that, about wielding that power. You know, people need to recognize, you need to recognize, we all need to recognize that we have so much boundless power, you know, and that's not about doing magic tricks and making people disappear. When I talk about power, I mean to achieve, to change, to grow, to heal, to learn, to know. It's infinite, your power to influence. It's infinite, your power to do those things, all of those things. All you have to do is to recognize, one, that you have it. Well, you should recognize that because you've learned those lessons. I've had those power. I have the power to, like the magician, like He-Man himself. I used to love He-Man. And the masters of the universe. I loved it. So you're like He-Man, you know, and he used to put that sword in the air and he would... I don't know why I'm talking about He-Man, but it was literally my favourite cartoon. And Thundercats. Anyway, I digress. But you have that power, and you can use that power in order to create and to manifest. And the creation and the manifestation comes from this as well. It comes from your authenticity. It comes from recognizing who you are. It comes from knowing who you are. The sun here is linked to the third chakra, which is the I can and I do, and it's your personal power center. That's what the third chakra is about. That's what the sun represents. It represents the things that you can do. It represents your personal power, literally, this card, and it's about acting on your personal power. So I feel like I've in a way we've gone round in a circle, but ultimately for us, for March, remember that this is a time where we start. So I don't want you to get to January to February and to think, oh my god, I'm failing. You're not failing, you're reflecting. That's what January is for. January is not for the new beginnings. January is for assessing yourself. Remember, this is the third month, so the third house is about communication. It's about conscious mind and thought, siblings and childhood, early life experiences, our relations and neighbours. It's related to the planet of Mercury, which is about our intellect, our judgment, and our analysis. So again, about recognizing the things where we've come from, what we need going forward, recognizing all of those things, but also then that's where we take the step once we have all that information. So let's look at in detail for Aquarius, for Pisces. So we'll look at work, love, general. Okay, so we've got work here. So, that's interesting, isn't it? We've had these two cards in different readings already. So we've got for work, we've got lovers, and we've got the Four of Cups. Do you know what it is? You've done all this work now, this year, in 2019, last year, you've done all this work, Pisces, and it's interesting that you for some reason you're not, unlike Aquarius, you ain't applying the lessons. It's like you need to do what you love, and you understand what it is you love in work. When it comes to work, you understand what it is that you love and what it is you want to do. And it's probably similar to the Aquarius's messages in that sense, that you need to understand what holds you back from thinking that it's important what you want. I don't understand why people don't think it's important how they feel. Like, it's important how you feel. If you're miserable at work, that's important. Is it more important than paying your bills? That's these questions here. This is what this card asks you to reflect on. And we get to a point in our life where we sort of reach a crossroads sometimes, where we have to, it's not about necessarily weighing up anymore. We've done the weighing up. It's about making the decision. And for you guys, it's about, you've done the weighing up and it's about making the decision. It's about doing something differently. So if you're saying, I'm miserable in this work, in this job, I've always wanted to be a TV producer. I don't know why. Honestly, some of the examples that I give in these readings, but anyway, I've always wanted to be a TV reporter a TV producer, and I'm actually a baker. So, you know, if you know you've always wanted to be a TV producer or whatever, but you do a bakery, but you're a baker full time, maybe this is you saying, you're saying to yourself, I don't matter then. What I want doesn't matter, because, you know, it's more important that I pay the bills than it is that I do what I want and that I feel that I want to do. Now, that to some people that's reality. They honestly believe that it's that paying bills or whatever it is more important than them being happy. What do you believe? Because if you're in that situation where you're going to work every day, but you hate it because you want to be a newsreader or whatever, you're telling yourself, what you tell yourself every single day about going to that job that you hate, what you're telling yourself is, I do not matter. What I want does not matter. What I feel does not matter. You've got to recognize that your actions actually have an impact on how you feel about yourself, on your self-esteem. And this is not just a message for Pisces in that sense. We all have to realize that. We all have to realize that what we do and what we do not do really has an impact on our self-esteem. So if by going to work every day in a job that we hate, if we think that that's okay for us to do, then we'll see how that affects our psyche and our health and our mental health and well-being. This is what the type of things that I want you to be thinking about, or us all to be thinking about in the month of March. But for you specifically, this is the type of thing that you're going to be looking at this year, Pisces, okay? Let's move on to love for you guys, okay? We've got the King of Pentacles. So this is good. We've got Provider, and we've got the Queen of Cups. Oh, beautiful. So we've got Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine energies here for you, Pisces, which is lovely. I love the fact... Oh, Tiny sleeping, chilling. I love the fact that we've got the Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine, because that shows a huge amount of balance, and that's a beautiful thing to see. So in love, whatever's going on, whatever's your situation in your love life, there's real effort that's being put in. The King of Pentacles shows us the effort, because the King of Pentacles is... Hello, tiny dog. You coming in? You coming up? Come on. Oh boy. Oh, he wants to sit on his mummy's knee. You sit down. Now, the King of Pentacles, good boy. The King of Pentacles is, your hoodie's wet. He ran outside. Let me take this off. It's not even, it's wet, Tiny. Sorry, everybody. Okay, so the King of Pentacles is, as I said, it's Divine Masculine. So we know it's, yeah, we're on third month, sorry. So it's Divine Masculine. So we know that, it's about the actions that we take, and because it's Pentacles energy, we know, which is related to the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, we know that this is about where we put our energy and effort in order to manifest security. That's what we know this energy is about. So this is excellent in the sense of, like, this is you practically doing things. This is you doing things that ensure security in your love life and in your relationships, okay, which is beautiful. We also have this, this is a change for you, though, in a sense, because we've got the Queen of Cups here. Now, Queen of Cups, all queens are about our inner wisdom, our inner understanding, what we already know, but we might not be able to hear because we've got to go to work, and we've got to pay the bills, and we've got friends, and we've got jobs, and we've got children, and we've got this. We might not be able to hear the wisdom, but it exists within us all the time. This is why we practice mindfulness, darlings. This is why we practice meditation, darlings, so we can hear, so we can listen. That's the whole point of meditation. It's not to not think, it's to reflect, it's to consider, it's to think of it, it's to feel, it's to understand, it's to learn, it's to grow. That's what meditation's for. It's the purpose of it, to help you to engage with the ultimate nature of reality. Anyway, I digress. But what this is saying here is that there's there might be some friction or some for some of you, how you want to provide for yourself and for your family and for your relationship, how you want to provide maybe at odds with what other people think is best in ensuring that security. However, they are wrong. Don't worry that they're wrong. It's fine that they're wrong. This is the type of foresight that you foresight that you have with the energies, with these energies of King and Queen of Pentacles. The foresight is that of change, and change always brings friction. But the change is necessary. The change is karmically guided, which means that ultimately the change is definitely for the better. Definitely for the better. So in your relationships, you're willing to talk openly about your feelings. You're willing to reflect on how you feel. You're willing to reflect on, you're willing to do what's necessary to ensure stability and security in your relationships, Pisces. So which is lovely. So finally then, yeah, it's gonna be, you've got quite a lot of change going on for you guys, and there's a lot of shifts and movements going on in the month of March when it comes to us all, actually. Generally speaking, I'll talk to you Pisces right now. Generally speaking, Pisces, you guys are feeling confident though. This is the energy of confidence, the wand energy. The wand energy is your chi, your key, as in key wisdom, your life force, okay? That's what the wand energy represents. It represents that motivation that we have, our creativity, our sexuality, our boldness, our pleasure, and this, the king, again, it's masculine, so it's about the actions that we take to ensure these things. So this is us acting confidently, behaving confidently, feeling confident. Ultimately, this is you will feel confident this year, Pisces, but you may also feel, because change is happening, change is moving, change is coming. You may feel disorientated by those changes, the changes that you're bringing about, and that you're taking the actions to, you might go down, you might work 5 days a week in the bakery, you might reduce that to 4 days, and then you might have 1 day doing your journalism, if that makes, do you know what I mean? So it might be like that, and yeah, you might miss out on a bit of money financially because you're not working on the 5th day, because on the 5th day you don't get paid for that journalism, whatever it is you're doing, but at least you're happy, and you feel on some level that this is what you need, and that this is what's going to actually provide you and your family, your relationship, whatever it is, with more security. It might be less money, but it's more security. And that's what the King of Pentacles understands. And that's what the King of Wands understand. They understand that in order to get to where you want to be, there has to be these changes and these shifts. And you might hate them. You might feel so uncomfortable. You might feel so nervous and so worried about the changes that you have to make, about the adjustments that you have to make. You might feel nervous, you might feel worried, but don't, because look at what's happening. Look at what's happening. The happiest card in the deck, the Magician and the Fool card. These are the key energies for you, Pisces, and for everyone in the month of March, okay? So it's actually an interesting reading for you guys, Pisces, and a really lovely month for us all, okay? Tiny, stop that. It's annoying. It licks his paw like it's, and then it's like, anyway. Anyway, right, okay. Tiny, don't mind it if you're sitting on your mummy, because mummy's working. Okay, so now we're going to look at the 4th month, and we're going to look at, sorry, I've got to look at my Aries. So with Aries, we're back to the start now. So the Aries is the start of the year, but because I wanted to look at the start of the zodiac, I should say, but because I wanted to look at each month, obviously from January through to December, and each sign, that's why we started with Capricorn. We're going to look at the 4th house. So it's year of the number 4. It's Aries. So the 4th house, I'll just put that there while I'm shuffling. We've got home and property, family life, place of birth. Oh, I've showed you this, underground. So where we come from, it's linked to the sign of Cancer. It's linked to the moon, and it's also linked to water. So think about that, Cancer, moon and water. That's just going to just tell you straight away what you can expect in the month of generally in the month of April. We have these energies of engaging with I feel like there's 3, but I will be here all day if I do 3. I've only done 3 readings and I'm already an hour in. This is going to take forever. Okay, so we're going to look at sorry, yeah, sun, the Cancer, moon, water is about the everything else part of you. We'll pull some specific cards now for the sign of Aries. And for the month of April. Actually, it's that one. Okay, so cards underneath. Wow, we've got an injection of new energy for you guys, Aries. Just bear with me a second because I keep forgetting the months and I just don't want to get confused. Jan, Feb. Okay, baby. There we go. Okay, so it's, yeah, I get, if you want to see me descend into delirium, then keep watching, because this is why I don't know what people think happens when you read tarot, but it's not an easy thing for me to do. It really does take its toll. So yeah, that might happen. The delirium may set in at some point. Okay, so we are now in the 4th month with Aries, the 4th house, and we have this injection of new energy now. So I'm intrigued to see the new karmic cycles that are beginning for you, for us, in the month of April. Let's have a look. Do you know, the month of April already feels pretty lively, let's say, from where I'm sitting. So let's start. We've got the Devil energy here, which is Capricorn's energy, and the World card. I mean, you can't fail to love these energies. I mean, you can, because people still have that old way of looking at the devil. The devil energy is the release, if you will, ultimately, that comes through the slavish commitment to responsibilities that we have. So with the devil energy, what happens with the devil energy is it helps us to break free. It helps us to break through. It helps us to create and manifest change in our lives. It's number 15, number 1, number 5. Obviously adds up to number 6, like the Lovers. So we have this energy with the devil of starting to understand that, oh my God, as if, that's so strange. It's starting with the energy of, you've been doing this, you've been doing it this way, you've been doing things this way, you've been doing things this way, and the way you've been doing them gets you to breaking point. And you're in that breaking point and you realise, you know what, I'm not going to bloody do this anymore. Why do I have to keep doing this? Why do I have to keep living this way? Why do I have to keep talking this way? Why do I have to keep doing this job? Why do I have to keep being in this relationship? Whatever it is for you, that's a breaking point. That's the devil energy. So it shows you that you can do things differently. It helps you to realise that there is new options, there's new energy, and there's a new world that you can have. The World card is a brand new situation. So we're talking about, in the month of April, being in a brand new situation. You know, we're talking about, for us all now, we start the year off slowly. And this is what I mean. I hope you watch this reading, and I hope you understand and recognise that this is what we should be doing. We should be taking our time in January to reflect. We should be starting to apply in February. We should be taking the big leap in March. And in April, we should be in the new world. You should feel it. You should see it around you. The differences, the shifts, the changes that you've made, okay? So we move on. Let's have a look now at the energies specifically for work, for the sign of Aries. This is Aries. So we've got you, Aries. We've got you, Aries. We've got new, haven't we? We've got the Chariot here. We've got the Chariot and the Empress here. So the Chariot, number 7, my master number. I say that in every video whenever I see number 7, as you know, my darlings. And there is a video about the number 7s actually in my Key Wisdom playlist. Check that out. The Chariot number 7 is about the balance of your divine masculine and your divine feminine. So there being a true connection and a true link between your yin and yang, between how you feel and how you act. That's what helps to propel you forward. You need to behave and act more, all of us, more authentically, which is what this card represents. It represents your authenticity, your truth. It represents balance. It represents wisdom. It represents understanding. This card, wisdom and understanding, are two different things actually, but I won't go into that right now. I use them as a synonym in that sentence. Anyway, I digress. But you know, this is what this card represents. This number 3, this expansion, this growth, this knowledge, this wisdom. So you have to, this is in work, remember, so you have to propel yourself forward. You have to be who you are. You've got to be authentic. You've got to know your talents and your worth, Aries. And for us all, you know, in the month of April, this is why I write it down. I'm getting delirious now. In the month of April, Aries, you will, all of us, I should say, we all have to think about, we all have to have that, it's the authenticity that moves me forward. It's the I can only be me. I mean, ultimately, everyone reaches that conclusion. It's just that some people reach that conclusion at 6 years old, at 16 years old, at 26 years old, at 36 years old. Other people don't reach that conclusion until they're 86 years old, 96 years old. They don't realise that just be you. Just be you. That's what's going to move you forward in the month of in the month of April. Being who you are, that's what propels you forward. That's what brings success. That's what brings new energy around. That's what, because I think that the more we fight being ourselves, because we've got a responsibility to be polite, we've got a responsibility to be this, to be that, the other, we've got a responsibility to work at this job, whatever, it's that ultimately that breaks you. That's the devil is the chain, if you will. The devil is the work or the relationship or the faking it or the hiding it. That's the devil. And the devil energy in tarot is about breaking those chains. It's about recognizing that can't keep you down. That shouldn't keep you down. None of that stuff should stop you from being who you are. None of it. Not your relationship, not your what else, not social media, not the amount of money, not your not your parents, not your religion. None of it should stop you from being who you are. And when we cling on to, which is what this energy represents ultimately, when we cling on to how things should be, how they told us it should be, how he told me I should be, when we cling on to that, eventually we reach a breaking point, and that couldn't come soon enough. And that breaking point for some of us comes actually this month, comes in the month of April, okay? Which is good to see. We need to be who we are. This is what's going to help to propel us forward. We then move on to love. This is love now for you, for you, for us. And let me just, this little message here, Aries. Okay, the message is very simply, remember these add up to 10. There's 10 cups here. So there's something that you're missing. There's something that you're, there's like a, oh, bless you. There's like a hole. That sounds a bit drastic. Within you emotionally, there's like a void, not a wound. It's not a wound. It's not pain that's there. It's that there's nothing there. It's like there's an emptiness. So what that suggests potentially is that this is something that's been on in your life for a long time. So suggesting it could be going back to childhood in that sense, because it's a hole. Not a pain, it's a hole. So it might be that there's somebody missing, somebody that should, a figure that should love you. So your mother or your father, for example. There was a hole created by that relationship or lack of relationship. And it's as if you've forgotten. It's not as forgotten, it's as if you don't realise, though, the necessity of that, of whatever that was from the past. There was a necessity of whether your parents, you know, maybe one of your parents passed away when you were very young, for example, or your guardian passed away, or they weren't there, and we're sad about it, and we don't realise the effect it has on us. But it's not just about the effect it has on you and your sadness on your relationships. It's about understanding that there's a reason, a karmic, universal reason for the passing of your parents. And that sounds, listen, I'm very matter of fact about these type of things, because what I'm telling you is I know to be true. Even if it upsets you, even if it triggers you, even if you feel like as if, so you tell me that my mum died and that's what should have happened. Yeah, and it sounds awful, and it sounds, but that's what we do. We attach this, we look at it from human eyes, whereas the universe doesn't love you or hate, the universe doesn't hate you, and so the universe took away this love of your life or your parents. The universe doesn't hate you and doesn't punish you. The universe gives you whatever it is you need in order to get to where you need to be, which is a true, authentic, this is where we all need to get to. We all need to be connected with who we are. We all need to understand who we are. We all need to understand where we've come from. And we don't get to do that if we live a comfortable life, or if we live a life where everything's just good all the time. Even the people that have all the money in the world and have all the beauty in the world and have all the wealth in the world, they still go through this and feel this and have heartbreak, because because the aim of life isn't to be rich or to have money or to be popular or to be famous. The aim of life is to get here, to be above it all, to understand how it affects you. So for you, it's like you have to be mindful, the temperance kind of mindfulness. I've done a video in the Key Wisdom playlist about that actually as well, temperance. You need to be mindful of all the empty space that's within you. And it's not about filling that empty space up with other people or other addictions or alcohol or drugs or working too hard or frivolous relationships or sex addiction. It's not about filling that hole up with those things. It's about recognizing that the reason you're behaving in this way, acting this way, doing the things that you're doing is because this hole has been created for you within. When it comes to love, when it comes to relationships, there's a hole missing. There's something missing from a very long time ago. This is old wounds, old. Maybe from 8 years old, when you were 8 years old, maybe. It's about recognizing that this is something that now you need to heal from, which is what this card also represents. Okay, so I know that I went on a bit on that one, but it's important. Generally, you are going to. So this is good. So we've got movement this year for you, Aries, and we've got in the month of in the month of April for us all, we see this shift, this change for us all. We see we're able to move to calmer waters. We're able to move to new ways of living and new ways of being. There's new energy coming in. The sword energy is related to our thoughts, our minds, our consciousness, our clarity, our communication, what we say and think, and what we allow ourselves to say and think. That's what the sword energy represents. And again, number 6 is linked to your 6th chakra here. I think it's linked to your third eye chakra, which is your perception center. That's what it's about. Your psychic consciousness, your wisdom, your intuitive ability. Now, basically everything that's just not physical. I always say that to you. That's all that psychic means. It's all the stuff that's not physical. If you want to get down, get down. It's all the stuff that's not physical. That's all it is. All the things that make you who you are, but just not the stuff that you can see. Okay? And this is what the number 6 represents. That's what it is. Everything that you are. That's what number 6 means. Everything that you are. Not just what people can see, not just what people tell you, everything that you are. The things that saddened you, the things that hurt you, the loss of the parent, the loss of that relationship, the abuse, the assaults that created this hole within you. Actually recognize that experience, however bad, however dire, however tragic it was, it's that helps to make you whole. You have to start to perceive your traumas differently. You've got to recognize that the traumas are still a part of who you are, and you've got to perceive those happenings in a different way. We can all be mindful of that in the month of April as well. Okay, and we've got this card here, the Six of Swords, that just really highlights that for us. Okay, now we're moving on to I'm dying here. Right, I might need to have a break in a minute actually, because I've been going for over an hour. And oh, I think we will have a break in a minute. Need a drink of water, I think.